Good morning, everybody. So, this is part two of our geometry series. And in today's, which for our class is going to be focused on homework, for today's, we're going to look at the area of rectangles, squares, which I know is review. We're going to fly through that. And then really focus on triangles. Okay. So, in your notebook, this handout was provided to you as part of your notes. Make sure that this makes it into your notebook. We're going to use it over several days. Okay. Now, given that information, okay, we're also going to use another page today. So we're going to use this page as kind of a stopping point or a reference point, and we're going to use another page as well. Okay. One of the focuses of our geometry unit is not just can I find the area of an object, but can I effectively use a formula? If you can effectively use a formula, it's going to help you in science. It's going to help you later in math. You can look up a formula, and if you know what to put in it, you're halfway there. And given our age, given our time period, there's so many things we can look up. I want you to be able to use the tools wisely, not so much be a calculating machine. We have calculating machines. Okay, one of the things I also want you to understand, this is very important. Please write this down. 1D, okay, one-dimensional. That's like, think of the thinnest little spider web you could think of. Okay, one line, one little nothing. Okay, and we measure that in inches, centimeters, yards, miles. That's how we measure distance. It's how we measure perimeter, okay, which we're not doing right now. It's how we measure height. How tall are you? Okay. 2D is an actual surface. I can put my hand on this notebook. It is 2D. Okay, technically it's 3D and we all get that. But it's a flat thing that I can touch. So I like to think of 2D as like tiles on the floor. Okay, they take up space. We measure these in inches squared, or you could write that as square inches. Yards squared, and notice I'm using the little exponent 2 to show that this is squared. It is a very different measurement to say that it's yards versus square yards. So when you're doing these problems, labeling them is going to be part of the right answer. If it's not labeled correctly, it's not correct. Okay, and you can write it out as square miles or square inches, or you can use the exponent, which I like a lot. Okay. So moving back up to the handout, and make sure this is written in, guys. If you need to pause me to write this down, please do that, because this is the number one way people get things marked wrong and then tell me, but I had it right. No, it's not the same thing. So make sure we're writing this down. Now, looking at area of rectangles and squares. I know this is review. I'm going to zoom through it. Okay. On this one, the rectangle is 6 centimeters by 10 centimeters. The formula is length times width. So I would write down 6 times 10, and then I would write down 60 centimeters squared. Okay? Showing my thinking the whole way. For square, you'll see some people will still say length times width because it's just a rectangle. Or you will see people say that it's side squared. Because all the sides match, it's this times itself, which is a good practice with exponents. Okay? So if this is 7 squared, that is 7 times 7. So my square is 49 square centimeters. Okay? And see how I do like to work in that review without giving you guys a whole nother assignment. Triangles, very different story. Now, I like to tell this story. It's Saturday, so my son's around. We'll see if he hears me tell this story. When my son was younger, and you guys know I love him dearly, as a mom should, he liked his sandwiches cut on the diagonal. To be honest, he likes peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or now Nutella and jelly. My son or my daughter liked grilled cheese sandwiches. They both, it's like there's extra love in it when I cut them diagonally. It's just extra special. If you take a rectangle and you cut it diagonally, you get a triangle. If you take a parallelogram and you cut it diagonally, you get a triangle. You're taking that sandwich and cutting it in half. Okay? That is why there's a half in the formula. It gets forgotten. It shouldn't get forgotten. Okay? And it's why I'm going to insist that we write down the formula, then we evaluate it with the numbers, then we find the solution. Many of you are going to complain and find it tedious. I'm truly sorry, but you're going to do it anyway because it leads to so much more accuracy. And because we're practicing with formulas, it's something that I want you to get into good habits with. Okay, so let's do these triangles. The first one, if area equals 1/2 times base times height, okay, then area equals 1/2 times 10 times 6, then area equals 1/2, I'm sorry, then I multiply, and notice 1/2 of 10 is 5. 5 times 6, area equals 5 times 6 is 30, 30 centimeters squared. Notice by doing it step by step, I did not forget the half, okay, and everything stayed really lined up. On this triangle, I would consider this to be the base, okay, and the distance from the base to the peak or to the vertex, that would be the height. On a right triangle, it's basically like you really did cut a rectangle in half, and so it's a straight and a straight. On any other types of triangles, you're going to see this dotted line that shows the height. Okay. So now we're going to take that information, we're going to do a little practice, and then I'm going to let you loose with your homework. Okay. Now, for this practice, I am using 2 handouts that I provided to you. Okay, the first one is this, area of rectangles and squares. We're going to do a couple for practice in this video, and I'm going to want them in your notebook. You're going to do a couple for practice as homework and submit your answers on a Schoology answer document. The other page we're going to use that was provided to you is area of triangles. Okay, again, we're going to do a couple, you're going to do some. Just a heads up that if for some reason your stuff is missing, 1, there's extra packets in the classroom. 2, okay, I put each handout here. You could look at it on your screen and know what the problems are and just copy them onto a piece of paper. So they are on your weekly agenda and the hard copy's been provided to you. Okay. So now I'm going to change pages. My notebook, just like yours, but I did kind of pre-write in mine. So right now I'm going to encourage you to pause the video and copy down the title, the essential question, and maybe some of these shapes. I want you to notice that in my notebook, I also still leave a left column for left column questions because they will be happening. So make sure that you kind of try to follow this setup. Title, Geometry Day 2. We're putting it all in one day, but this is part 2. Area of rectangles and triangles. There's your title. Our essential question, what similarities or differences exist when calculating the area of rectangles and triangles? Some things are the same. Some things are different. It has to do with the relationship between a rectangle and a triangle that we just discussed. Okay, so pause if you need to, copy this down, and then when you unpause, or right now, we'll get started. So here we have a rectangle. We know that the formula for the area of a rectangle is area equals length times width. And the truth is, in a formula, you don't even have to write that times symbol. You'll see me not do it because the fact there are two variables together like that already means they're being multiplied. So now I'm going to evaluate it or write in the numbers. Length, 10.5 times width, 5. Now, you might say that this is the width and this is the length. That's okay. Because of commutative property of multiplication, we can multiply it in any order we want to. Okay. Now, I like to do my work kind of over here on the side. You can do what you need to do. Okay. So this says that my area is 52.5. This is measured in centimeters. So centimeters squared. Remember, that label is part of the answer. So 52.5 centimeters squared. Now here we have a square. Area equals the side length squared. Area equals 14 squared, or 14 times 14. Okay, again, practicing my multiplication skills. The area is 196 centimeters squared. Okay, write down the formula, evaluate it with the values, do the calculation. Okay, and this process is going to keep us focused when the shapes and the formulas get more complicated. Okay, feel free to pause the video at any time if you need to. Now next, we have some triangles. Now remember, I warned you about this formula. The area of a triangle is 1/2 times the base times the height. Now, the good news is, because we're multiplying, it kind of doesn't matter what order we do it in. Okay? area is 1/2 times 10.5 times 13. Now, here's where, for a lot of you, I'm going to say, go ahead and just take out a calculator. I want you to be able to multiply, but I don't want it taking all your time all the time. If it takes longer to take out the calculator, do the math. Okay? In my case, oops, not that, sorry. I'm going to pop a calculator up. Now, if it was a test, we could only use a handheld calculator. Instead of 1/2, I'm going to type in 0.5 times 10.5 times 13 equals 68.25. Okay, this is measured in centimeters. So again, centimeters squared. Okay. Another one. Area, 1/2 times base times height. Area. Now this is all in decimals, so I'm even going to change it right here. 0.5 times 6.5 times 15. And I'm going to show you what this looks like if I do it by hand. 6.5 times 0.5. 5 times 5, 32. Count my decimals. And you guys will notice decimals are our review homework this week. So then I have 3.25, which makes very much sense that that's half of 6.5 times 15. There are 2 decimal places. So the area equals 48.75 centimeters squared. Now, the truth is, I'm going to let you use handheld calculators for speed. But I never want us to forget our skills, because a calculator is only as smart as the person who pushed the buttons. And all of us have mispushed buttons at times. So I want you to have understanding of, oh yeah, that's reasonable. And oh yeah, if I took 3 15s plus a little bit, that's reasonable. And you're constantly checking for reasonable solutions. Last one I want to do together, and this is on the handout. You're going to do one as well. I'm doing this one. Michelle painted a triangle in a mural on her wall. The base of the triangle is 24 inches, and the height is 18 inches. What is the area of the triangle? Now, this would be important because she has to buy paint to cover that area. And does she need to buy a whole gallon of paint, or just a little quart of paint, or just a little sample size of paint? Okay. So what I did, and what I'm going to encourage you guys to do with every single word problem, is draw the picture. Just draw it. It's 2 feet by 1.5 feet tall. That's the triangle that she painted on her wall. Okay. Now, again, we're going to write down the formula. Area equals 1/2 times base times height. Area equals 1/2 times 24 times 18. Again, I expect that you are smart, resilient, quality students. You can see that 1/2 of 24 is 12. So right here, I'm just going to write area equals 12 times 18. Now I can do 12 times 18 faster just by writing it down than I would by getting out a calculator. Part of the reason I can do that is because I constantly practice. Please do not become so reliant on calculators that you are missing out on skills. Area is 216 square inches. And she can take that information to her local hardware store and know if she has enough paint. Okay. All right, so I want you guys to get your homework done. Okay, practice these skills that we've used, including the step-by-step of using the formula. I will be checking on that in the future, so please get in this habit. Have a great day.